The heat inside the laundry pressed down like a weight. Thick, damp, hard to breathe. Mei Lin kept her head down, hands in the water, scrubbing. Always scrubbing. Other people's dirt. Other people's lives. She didn't look up when the women came in, didn't meet their eyes. She had learned long ago that looking only made it worse. The Chinese girl, still here, like a stain you can't wash out. The words slid across the room like steam, hot, invisible, constant. She worked anyway, faster, quieter, smaller. Then the room went silent. Not quiet, silent. Mei Lin's hands slowed, then stopped. She looked up. A man stood in the doorway, blocking the sun. Tall, still. Cole Barrett. Everyone in Red Mesa knew that name. Not because he talked, because he didn't. Because when he did, things changed. He stepped inside, one step, then another. Heavy boots on wet wood. No greeting, no nod, no apology for interrupting. The women moved back, instinctively, like something in them knew space mattered. Cole didn't look at them, didn't see them. His eyes found Mei Lin and stayed there. She felt it, that weight, different from the others. Not curiosity, not mockery. Something colder, something measuring. He walked to the counter, stopped, close enough now that she could see the dust on his coat, the lines in his face, the quiet in his eyes. He reached into his pocket and placed something on the wood. A ring. Not gold, not polished. Silver, worn thin, bent slightly. Mei Lin stared at it, then at him. He didn't smile, didn't soften. I need a wife. No build-up, no charm. I'm asking you. The room broke, sharp, ugly. Of course he is. Couldn't find one anywhere else. Figures he'd take her. Mei Lin didn't move, didn't react, but her fingers tightened, just slightly. The old instinct, to shrink, to disappear. Cole didn't turn, didn't acknowledge the laughter. He just watched her, waiting, not pleading, not explaining, like her answer was already decided, and he was just waiting for her to catch up to it. Mei Lin looked down at the ring again, small, cold, too big for her hand. This wasn't romance. This was a door. Out. She lifted her eyes, met his. There was no warmth there, no promise, but there was something else. Stillness, certainty. Wouldn't hurt her. But he wouldn't save her either. This was her choice. Behind her, the laughter kept going. In front of her, a man who didn't care if the whole town laughed. Her voice came out small, but steady. Yes. The laughter died. Instant. Cole nodded once, like that was all he needed. He pushed the ring toward her. Put it on. Her fingers trembled, just once, then steadied. She picked it up, slipped it onto her finger. Too big, loose, but it stayed. Cole watched, then turned. Get your things. No welcome, no thank you, just done. Mei Lian moved, quick, quiet. She had almost nothing. A dress, a blanket, a small box. A life you could carry in 2 hands. When she stepped back out, the room was empty. The women were gone, gone to spread the story. Cole stood by the door, waiting. He didn't take her bundle, didn't reach for her. He just opened the door, light flooding in. She stepped past him, into it, into the town. Heads turned everywhere. There she is. He actually did it. Bought himself a wife. Mei Lian kept her eyes down, watching the ground, each step, careful, measured. Beside her, Cole walked like none of it existed, not faster, not slower, untouched, like the world didn't get a say. For the first time in her life, she wasn't invisible. And somehow, that felt more dangerous. The ranch sat alone, miles from anything that cared. No neighbors, no voices, just land and sky and wind that never stopped moving. Mei Lian slowed as they approached the house. It wasn't large, but it was solid. Built from thick timber and stone, like it had been forced into the earth and refused to leave. Cole stepped onto the porch, opened the door, didn't look back, didn't check if she followed. She did. Inside, it felt empty, not abandoned, just unused. Dust in the corners, bare shelves, a table that had seen too many meals alone. It smelled like wood, leather, and something else. Loneliness. Cole set her bundle down, then stepped back, like he didn't belong in the space either. This is the kitchen. A gesture, minimal. Water's outside. You haul it. My room. He pointed to one door, didn't open it. And that one, he walked past her, opened the second door. Yours. Mei Lian stood still, didn't move. A room, her own. Small bed, thin quilt, a window. Not much, but hers. She stepped inside, ran her fingers lightly across the blanket. Clean. He had prepared it. Behind her, Cole leaned against the doorway, watching. Not stepping in, not claiming space. Giving it. She turned, looked at him. Thank you. He nodded once. I work sunup to dark. I eat when I get back. House is yours. No softness, no promise, but no ownership either. Just terms. Then he turned, walked out, door opening, wind returning, then gone. Mei Lian stood alone. The house felt bigger now, not empty, waiting. She moved, opened the window, let light in, then rolled up her sleeves and began. The house changed, piece by piece. So did she. Cole came back at dusk. Dust, sweat, sun still clinging to him. He stopped. Something was different. The air, cleaner. The table wiped, the window open, light lingering. He noticed. Of course he did. He noticed everything. Mei Lian placed a plate on the table. Simple food. Hot. She didn't speak. Didn't need to. He sat, started eating. Slow. Focused. She watched, just once, then looked away. Respecting distance, but aware of him, always aware. "You cook like that again," he said suddenly, still looking at his plate. "I won't complain." It wasn't praise, but it wasn't nothing. A corner of something shifted. Night settled. The house quiet again, but different. Cole stood near the door, unbuckling his gun belt, setting it aside. A small act. Trust. Mei Lian stood by the table, watching him. He moved past her, close, too close to ignore. For a second, their shoulders almost touched. Neither moved. Then he kept walking. But not completely. Later, he didn't come near her room, didn't test the door, didn't cross the line. And that was the strangest thing of all. Not the silence, not the distance, but the way he left it there, untouched, like he could, like he chose not to. And for the first time, Mei Lian didn't feel like something that had been bought. She felt like something that had been allowed. The sun was already dropping when he didn't come back. Mei Lian stood on the porch, waiting. At first she told herself nothing was wrong. Men like him didn't keep time by clocks. They kept time by land. But the light kept fading, and the house stayed empty. Something tightened in her chest. Unfamiliar. Worry. Then a shape, far off, moving wrong. She stepped forward, squinted. It was him, but slower, uneven. She ran, didn't think, didn't hesitate. By the time she reached him, he was leaning against a fence post, his weight sagging into it. Blood, dark, soaking through his trouser leg. "What happened?" Her voice came out too fast, too thin. "Wire." He gritted it. "Fence wire. Got careless." He tried to step, failed. She moved under him, his arm over her shoulder. He was heavy, solid. Heat, sweat, blood, too close. But she didn't pull away, didn't falter. "Walk," she said softly. And he did, back to the house. Inside, she helped him down. He sat hard. Whiskey and a knife. She moved fast. Bottle, blade, water, cloth. Her hands shook just once, then steadied. She knelt in front of him, closer than ever before. The world narrowed. Just him and her. She cut the fabric away. The wound, deep, ugly, blood still seeping. He grabbed the bottle, poured it straight in. His whole body went rigid. But he didn't move, didn't stop her. "Stitch it." Her hands froze. I never... You can. Not encouragement, expectation. He trusted her, just like that. She swallowed, threaded the needle, hands steady now. She cleaned the wound, careful, precise. Then he didn't flinch, didn't even blink, just watched her. Her face close, hair falling forward, breath soft. Her fingers small, sure, closing him, pulling him back together. Something shifted, not just skin, something deeper. You don't look away, he said suddenly, voice quieter now. She didn't stop working. No, others do, not you. She glanced up, just once. You didn't look away either. The air tightened. That line gone. She tied it off, hands lingering, just a second longer than needed, then pulled away. It will hold, she said quietly. He looked down at the bandage, then back at her. You too. She didn't answer, but something in her face changed. She stood, washed her hands. Behind her he watched. Not the wound, her. That night he didn't go outside, didn't sit alone. He stayed inside. She sat nearby, mending cloth. Quiet, but not distant. The space between them smaller now, not empty anymore. And for the first time, they both knew it. The town felt smaller when they walked into it together. Red Mesa hadn't changed. The dust was the same, the heat, the stares. But something else had. Mei Lin felt it. Before, she walked alone, invisible, or worse, seen. Now she walked beside him. Cole didn't slow, didn't adjust his pace. He just walked, like he always did, like the world didn't get a say. There they are. That's her. He actually married her. Mei Lin kept her eyes forward, but she heard everything. Every word, every tone. Her fingers tightened slightly at her sides. Then, the general store. They stepped inside. The room shifted. Conversation stopped. Men turned. Women froze mid-motion, watching, waiting. Cole walked straight to the counter. Flour, salt, coffee. The shopkeeper moved, fast, eager not to linger in the moment. Mei Lin stood slightly behind him, not hiding, but not claiming space either. Then a man stepped into their path. Finch, always smelling like cheap whiskey and bad decisions. Well, now, didn't think I'd see this up close. His eyes dragged over Mei Lin, open, unashamed. Cole didn't move, didn't look at him yet. Step aside. Finch leaned closer, too close. What's the matter? She don't speak? Or she just don't speak English? Mei Lin felt the heat rise in her chest. Old instinct to shrink, to disappear. But she didn't move. Not this time. Cole shifted, just slightly, stepping forward, half a step. Enough. His body between them now. You heard me. Step aside. Finch smirked, still pushing. "What'd you pay for her, Cole? Or was she just lying around waiting?" Silence. Cole looked at him, finally. Cold. Still. Not anger. Something worse. Decision. "I won't say it again." Finch held his gaze, tried to, failed. He stepped back, muttering. The air shifted again. Cole stepped forward, paid, turned. Then he reached for her hand, fingers wrapping around hers, firm, warm, public. Mei Lin froze, just for a second. Then her fingers closed around his, holding back, holding back. The room watched, not mocking now, witnessing. Cole led her out, didn't rush, didn't hide, into the light. They walked, hand in hand, no words. But everything had changed. The whispers followed, of course they did, but they felt smaller, because now she wasn't standing alone inside them. Back home, the silence returned, heavy, thick. Cole let go of her hand. The absence immediate, noticeable. She turned, looked at him. Why? He didn't answer right away, walked to the window, looked out. Then, "I watched you for months." Mei Lin didn't move, waiting. "You worked," he continued, "harder than anyone in that town. They talked. You didn't break." He turned slightly, not fully. "This house, after my folks died, it went quiet. So did I. I didn't need a wife. I needed someone who wouldn't disappear inside it." Now he looked at her, fully. "You didn't." The words settled, deep. Not rescue, recognition. Something in her chest shifted, and this time she didn't look away. The seasons changed slowly, almost without notice. The heat broke first, then the air softened, the land less harsh, still unforgiving, but quieter. So was the house. Not empty anymore. A cup placed on wood, cloth brushing against table, a low hum, her voice. Cole noticed it one evening. He stopped in the doorway, didn't move, just listened. She was humming, soft, unfamiliar, not from this land, but it filled the house like it belonged. He didn't interrupt, didn't speak, just stood there, longer than necessary. They stood outside that night. The sky stretched wide, endless, stars burning cold above them. Cole leaned against the post, arms loose at his sides. Mei Lin stood beside him, close, closer than before. "Those ones," he said, voice low, pointing upward. "North line. You follow that, you don't get lost." She followed his hand, eyes tracing the sky. "In my home," she said quietly, "we say the stars remember us." Cole looked at her. "Even when we don't?" She nodded. "Yes." The air shifted, not heavy, not tense, Something else. He reached out, slow, deliberate. His fingers brushed her cheek, warm, careful. She didn't move, didn't step back. Instead, she leaned into it, just slightly. Enough. That was all he needed. He stepped closer, close enough now that space between them disappeared. He gave her time to pull away. She didn't. Not this time. He lowered his head, slow, careful. Their lips met. Not hunger, not fire. Something quieter, something deeper. Relief. Like two people finally setting something down. When he pulled back, his hand stayed, still resting against her face. He said her name. Mei-Lian. Not like before, not distant, like it mattered. She looked up at him, and for the first time she smiled. Not polite, not careful, real. The house changed again after that, not in big ways, in small ones. He left things on the table, not tools, wildflowers, rough, imperfect, but chosen. She brought him water at midday, didn't need to, but did. They spoke more, not much, but enough. And the silence, it didn't feel like distance anymore. It felt like space they shared. Red Mesa still stared. Of course it did. Still whispered. Still judged. But something had shifted. Not in the town, in them. She walked differently now. Not smaller, not hidden, beside him. And Cole, he didn't just walk next to her. He walked with her. One evening they sat together, the sky burning gold, then fading. His arm around her, natural now, like it had always belonged there. Her head rested against him, listening, steady, certain. She thought of the laundry, the heat, the whispers, the ring. She had said yes for survival, for a roof, for safety. She hadn't expected this. Peace, belonging. Cole looked down at her, then out at the land. Everything he had built, everything he had fought for, and none of it had ever felt like this. He pressed a kiss to her hair. "She'll never wear silk here," someone in town had once said. "No jewels." He tightened his arm slightly. They were wrong. He didn't give her silk, didn't give her gold. He gave her something harder, a place, a voice, a home that didn't swallow her whole. And she gave him back the life he thought he'd buried. Out here, in the dust and silence of Red Mesa, a man who spoke too little and a girl no one listened to built something the town could never understand. Not a bargain, not a rescue, something earned. And for the first time, they were no longer alone.